tragedies in 1 week. People in the mid-state comforting each other after 15 people died, 6 in a school shooting and 9 in a military helicopter crash.
I mean, it was an explosion and we could hear it. And so I immediately jumped up and ran outside and called 911 within 15 seconds of seeing that.
We have the latest developments as communities in Tennessee and Kentucky try to make sense of this week's devastation. And the first ever criminal case against a former U.S. president. What we know about the investigation and how it could impact President Donald Trump's potential bid for the White House.
This is WSMV4 News at 10.
Good evening to you. I'm Lauren Lowry. Let's start with this helicopter crash in Trigg County, Kentucky. It happened just after 10 o'clock last night. 2 Blackhawks crashed. In total, 9 soldiers died.
Today is a tough and a tragic day for Kentucky, for the Fort Campbell, and for the 101st.
Let's take a look at where this happened, right by Katie's. The soldiers were from Fort Campbell on the other side of the state line. And the Army says soldiers were doing routine medical rescue training. This area is often used for training. People nearby are used to seeing soldiers, so they're pretty shaken up.
We have a lot of military live here in the county. Got a lot of friends that are military. I was in the military, and it just sort of hits you a little harder.
We know the name of one of the soldiers, Caleb Gore, from Wayne County, North Carolina. His father said his son was a gentle giant, and his dad's words, built like a tank. Now, Sharon Danko has been down in Fort Campbell for a lot of the day, talking with neighbors. Some of them actually saw the crash, Sharon.
WSMV 4.
All right, Sharon, thank you. And we spent plenty of time in Fort Campbell today. The whole town just seems shaken up, and it sounds really rare for these training accidents to go so wrong.
It's rare, more like we've got a better chance of finding a unicorn in the parking lot than one of these training accidents, because when they start to work on the helicopters, it's piece by piece. They have a manual they go through. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, step by step by step by step.
Clarksville Montgomery County Schools says they're devastated, and they say their school counselors are there if students need help. For now, an Alabama safety team is going over the wreckage. They'll try to find out what went wrong, and we'll bring you any updates as we learn them. Shifting gears here, want to get you ready for tomorrow because it's the weather that's going to turn nastier here in the next 24 hours. So Lisa Spencer's with us right now. Tomorrow you're actually calling for a first alert weather day. You're concerned about this.
Absolutely, and especially tomorrow night because we're expecting a front to push through. That's going to trigger some thunderstorms.
Well, new tonight, it's been 3 days since these 6 people were killed at Covenant School. And we've seen several vigils happening around the city, including one tonight for Evelyn Dickhouse, one of the 9-year-old victims. And we've heard from her parents. They called her a shining light, someone who loved people selflessly. Danielle Jackson, you just came from a vigil for Evelyn. Tell us about it.
Before 9-year-old Evelyn Dickhouse.
Yes, so many tears expected. Danielle, thank you. The family of Hallie Scruggs has a funeral service Saturday. It's at Covenant Presbyterian Church. Her father is the pastor there. And Cynthia Peak, also known as Cindy Peak, a sub at Covenant, will also be laid to rest Saturday. Her family gave us this statement, in part, quote, her favorite roles in life were being a mom to her 3 children, a wife to her husband, and an educator to students. We will never stop missing her. Cindy had just moved to Nashville. She has friends and family in Alabama.
We see these terrible, terrible things happening all over our country, but little did I ever expect to know anybody, directly affected.
That's so painful, but we have seen a lot of compassion and generosity after this shooting. And if you want to help donate, the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee is one of many organizations raising money. All the money is going to go to the Covenant School. Some of the victims also have GoFundMe pages, like custodian Mike Hills. It's raised over $550,000. Look at this now, $564,000. Way beyond the goal of 25 grand. We have links on our WSMV4 News app. Got to tell you, got to read about that man and what a difference he was making in people's lives. Our reporters have spent so many days right outside of Covenant Presbyterian. I myself did as well. Here's a picture that stands out. Check out this note on the flower and read it. It says, I knew your killer. I wish I didn't. "We all failed you. I'm so sorry." And then it went on to say, "I'll never forget." And this next part is difficult to get through, but now we do have the 911 calls from that day. They give us a complete timeline of everything that happened, all within about 14 minutes. The shooter drives up in the Honda, gets out, and then they shoot through the glass doors and enter the building. A few minutes later, we hear this 911 call.
I've heard multiple shots. When the sirens went off, I thought it was a fire drill, so I walked out of the room to go get my children, and I saw a person across the hallway, and that's when I heard shots, and I came back and locked myself in the closet with my assistant teacher.
Golly, here's another 911 call around the same time, and you'll hear children in the background of this one.
You want to speak to the police when they come out?
I'm happy to do that, yes, but I haven't. Yeah.
Okay. And so, okay. So what are you in a safe spot right now?
I think so.
Did you hear the child in the background saying, "I just want to go home"? Only a few minutes after that, police were able to arrive. We have their body camera footage.
They're upstairs.
Hey.
You and thousands of others have watched this video, and you know it is quick. 2.5 minutes later, the officers have shot and killed the shooter. And looking at that body camera, you see the hallways and the classrooms are empty. 200 students go to this school. Many of them ran outside right in the moment. Here is some of them. All right? Keep watching here. They run out into this road. You see them right there. Covenant's on the other side of the woods. We heard from one man who saw students coming out of those trees.
I stopped the car immediately. We jumped out. The people to the left of me stopped, get out, and once they see these kids crossing the road, everybody stopped and got out and made sure they were safe.
Your heart just aches knowing what happens next. 7 Metro school buses took students away, and the drivers took them to the reunification center down the street while police went into that school.
I mean, I'm not really a hero. I was just glad that, we were here close and was able to get out there, in the time that we did. And I'm just glad, that we were there to help get them out of there.
That man told us today that day was his birthday, and it's one he will never forget. And the Uvalde Foundation is now offering all Metro officers who went inside Covenant a Medal of Heroism, all 5 of them. We only know 2 of their names, Rex Engelbert and Michael Collazo. I'll add a 3rd. We know Officer Joey Jakes as well. And the group's founder calls all of them heroes and says they wasted no time stopping the shooter. Meanwhile, while we're looking more into the shooter's past, we told you Tuesday the shooter messaged this woman, a friend from middle school, and said something bad is going to happen. So this woman, who you see here, called 911.
I received a very, very weird message from a friend on Instagram. I think it's like a suicidal thing. I just don't want it on my conscience. If somebody can go check on her. Only thing I have is her Instagram. I went to school with her in middle school, but I don't know no friends, no numbers, or anything like that.
Right now, the FBI is looking into the manifesto the shooter wrote, so we're going to let you know if we learn anything from that. All of the people outside of the Capitol say they've had enough of gun violence. This was this morning. The people were yelling at lawmakers. They went inside the Capitol. It was raucous. Parents, students, even children. Many have had such difficult weeks.
I had to explain to my 7-year-old who just turned 7, who went to Chuck E. Cheese, who was crying because her goldfish died, why somebody would walk into a school with a gun and shoot 3 kids dead.
Doesn't seem fair, does it? Even some lawmakers pushed for gun control today.
This is your last warning. I'm asking you politely to stay on the legislation. Representative Pearson.
Okay. This will be the last bit, but asking politely that we listen to the cries of the people outside these doors.
After the shooting, we've heard many groups who want what they're calling common sense gun laws. Laws like more background checks, red flag laws requiring people to lock up their guns. But they are talking about school safety. Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally sent this letter to Governor Lee. McNally wants 4 proposals to beef up school security. And in this 2-page document, we're going to share some of them with you. Bulletproof windows and doors, magnetic door locks, more modern security cameras, and armed guards, not just SROs. We reached out to lawmakers to see what they thought.
We should put everything on the table. School safety, mental health. Other people want to talk about guns. We can talk about guns.
That's not solving the problem. The real problem are the assault rifles on our streets that you can buy out of the trunk of a car, that you can pay cash for anywhere you want, that are getting stolen out of vehicles at alarming rates.
We're following breaking news as well. NBC reports former President Donald Trump is facing over 30 counts related to business fraud. He's accused of paying an adult film star $130,000 and writing it off as a legal expense. The president's already responded on Truth Social. He wrote, "It's an attack on our country, the likes of which has never been seen before." And no former president has ever faced criminal charges before. This is historic. President Trump's lawyers say he's innocent. If a jury finds him guilty, he could spend 4 years in prison.
I'm tracking strong to potential